So I went for a ride last Saturday with a pretty large group. There was horses, donkeys, mules. Pretty sure there were some lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. So, with a large group, not everything goes right. And the one thing I noticed is most people tend to look outward when there's a problem instead of right here with themselves. And that is usually where the problem lies. Must have been the animal. That person was being a jerk. The weather's bad. I didn't have the right gear. So they pick up on every ounce of your attitude. Your ego, your attention, your lack of attention. And same thing goes with people. And oftentimes, it starts right here. Most times, it starts right here. So there was one part on the trail where there was a creek crossing and a couple of the animals didn't want to go over it. They weren't being stubborn. They just weren't really sure what was being asked of them. And that seems to be so true oftentimes in life. Rooster. We say things, we think someone understands, but they didn't. So the more time that I spend riding and with all the animals, I realize more and more that you gotta look inside. They're teaching me more than I'm teaching them. An old rebel here, he's a rough teacher. They all have their own way of teaching, their own pace, their own strengths and weaknesses, and their own little attitudes. But they've taught me to slow down, pay attention, and get it right. Sometimes I'm taking a little walk and checking the fence line, and I have some peanuts in my pocket and they know it. So I might get beat up here. So what I was gonna say is sometimes you just gotta go right back to the basics and reestablish communication. Oftentimes you don't realize that you forgot that minor little detail of communication, and you think that what you're saying, they're understanding. And that's kind of whether it's a donkey, a mule, a dog, your spouse, a coworker, or some random person at the grocery store. Peanut time. Ginger, do you want some? Yeah, kind of thought you did. So usually with that communication, you need to look inwards and not outwards. Well, told you I was going to get beat up. That means making sure both parties are on the same page. Whether this is your party or someone else. So on that ride, I saw one person and they had a new donkey, and that donkey, or maybe it was a mule, I don't remember, that animal was rubbing them on the brush every chance it got. And I don't really think the donkey was intentionally doing it. It just wasn't getting communicated to of which part of the trail to take. And the part it needed to take was kind of a deep ditch, and the part it chose to take was the high ground that put the poor person riding it into the brush. So was that animal being disobedient or obstinate? I don't think so. Was the person intentionally riding into the brush? Absolutely not. Especially since some of that brush had poison oak and some of it was berry brambles. But it was back to communication. So I guess what I'm saying is, look in the mirror, not at the mule. They tend to pick up on every piece of attitude you're putting out. If you're in a hurry, they're gonna be in a hurry. If you're anxious, they're gonna be anxious. If you're just having a bad day, well, they're probably gonna have a bad day. Hey, little buddy. So I kind of thought it's kind of like the doctor's oath. First, do no harm. And some days I've actually set out to saddle up and realized I wasn't in the right frame of mind, and I just stop and hang out with them and don't do a thing. Did I get anything accomplished? Well, I kind of think so, because I did no harm. So if you're having a bad day, maybe you ought to think about the old doctor and just sit back and do no harm. Come on, Jack. Just kind of checking out the pasture. This is California, so we're not covered in snow. Live at about 1,600 feet of elevation in the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas, so grass is already starting to grow a little. So I know I rambled about a little bit, but hopefully this helped. It helped me. And I'm almost out of peanuts. The donkeys, they teach patience. The mules, they teach trust. And the dogs, they teach enthusiasm even when I don't have any. And honestly, people aren't much different. Sometimes you gotta meet them where they're at. Everyone moves at their own speed, and sometimes you just gotta have to meet them where they are. So yeah, everybody thinks I'm the boss of this place, but they're the real bosses. Thanks for joining. Keep your loads tight and your coffee hot. See you next time.